Back in 2006, Toy Biz gave us this Model 1 Iron Man in their Marvel Legends line. Back in the day when Marvel Legends was made by a company that's not even Hasbro, what? Yeah, some people, it's crazy. It's been so long since Toy Biz did Marvel Legends. A lot of people just know it as a Hasbro thing nowadays. And I've actually seen a couple people kind of surprised to hear that it was another company that started it out. It's kind of interesting, though. 18 years of difference. 2006 and then 2023. There's quite a difference between both of these versions of good old Model 1 Iron Man, and I, being the weird Marvel Legends Iron Man collector that I am, that pretty much only gets Iron Man and hardly anything else, I had to get the new one. It looks great, and it is pretty great. However, even though I have this new one, does it mean I dislike the old one? No. The old one still has some charm, and it still actually has some things that I think it does better than the new one. But yeah, just looking at them side by side, you can definitely tell that 18-year difference for sure. And you can also tell some of the modern, cost cutting that we see nowadays, unfortunately. So let's just get into it. So 2006 Toy Biz and 2023 Hasbro, they're both pretty similar size. They're definitely similar size. And you can tell both of them are trying to be the same thing. Both of them are trying to kind of pull off the same, look of Iron Man. One of the biggest things is, this is painted silver, and it looks great. I love the silver paint. It really adds a lot. I love the subtle, spray in some of the joints to kind of give it some depth to the silver. And this is just that lovely, pearlized, dark gray metal plastic that you either love it or you hate it. And me personally, I am in the middle. I actually am not either a lover or a hater of the pearlescent plastic. I think it can look really great, and I think it can look really cheap. And here, it just looks okay. I'm not the biggest fan of its use here, unfortunately. I think the best spot on this figure is the helmet, because I think the helmet was actually painted in gunmetal silver. I do kind of prefer this darker color, though, but I do like this silver paint. In my opinion, Hasbro, they've shown in the past that they can fully paint a figure silver. They did with the Ultron figure that they released a while ago, in that almost entirely Iron Man wave. They painted him all silver. They could have painted this. They did add some paint to it, though. There is some subtle little scratching, on the helmet and on the torso. It almost just it's almost disguised by the pearlescent gray. You can see it on the knees there. It's very subtle. And honestly, I didn't even know he had this paint on him until I opened him up. Looking at the pictures on the box, I just thought it was the sheen of the plastic or the lighting. I didn't actually think it was paint application. But yeah, he's got it on the hands. He's got it in a lot of different spots. This silver sort of brushing, metal look. And it does look cool. It does look cool in certain spots, but I do think that it's really too overshadowed by the pearlescent gray plastic and all the little swirly twirlies and the little lines and things you get out of it. I think it's just a little too overshadowed. Me personally, silver paint would have looked great. I will leave it at that. But this deco, I still really do enjoy it. I do like the silver and kind of the darker dry brushes, but it really does look like something that came out in 2006, let's be honest. This looks like a figure of the era of 2006, and that is pretty much exactly what it is. It's got these very odd proportions, these very bulbous hips. It's got these almost gorilla arms. I mean, you can see they're proportionally not that much longer than the Hasbro one, but I think just something about how they kind of stick out and how huge the hands are. And the hands, even though they're not that big, it's just, they have this illusion of being huge and gorilla-like. It might be the size of the torso, too, because the torso is kind of small, and especially in comparison to the new one. It's still nice, though. I still do enjoy this one. It's just very, very dated. But I enjoy dated, honestly, for action figures. I'm a Toy Biz fanboy, so I really enjoy having this figure, and it's going to stay in my collection for sure. I'd love to see a gold repaint of this, because Toy Biz did repaint this in the gold color. I don't have it, unfortunately, but I would love to see this in gold someday. Maybe gold paint instead of swirly, gold plastic, but I doubt it. I mean, come on, with ZD Toys, other companies out there doing awesome paint jobs for Iron Man figures, Hasbro needs to start pushing the boundaries a little bit too. Fingers crossed, though. We'll see. So yeah, articulation-wise, let's go over that on both of them. So this one, he's got like a swivel and a hinge at the head. He doesn't even have a ball joint. Oh, that's a feature. Yeah, he has a mask. I didn't know when I was going to point this out, probably with the accessories, but it comes off very easily. He has a mask and he has a Tony Stark face underneath. We will go over that a little bit more later on, though. But he has kind of almost ratcheted shoulders that are very stiff, and the ratchets are so tight that they send the mask flying off. That's lovely. Let's just leave that mask off for the rest of this. It's so odd, though, how he has these really big ratchets. A ratchet for a 6-inch figure, really? He does have kind of limited double elbows. They're pretty much just 90 degrees. That's all you're going to get. You know, if you bend that first one and keep going, that's all you're going to see. He's got hinge and swivel at the hands. He does have articulated fingers, which is kind of cool. That's something that Toy Biz did that I kind of miss. But he doesn't have any repulsors in the hand, and you can't really give him a fist. He's just going to have open hands. That's just what he has. Swivel at the waist. No ball joint or anything. Then he has universal hinges at the legs, so you do get outward motion and you do get forward. They are kind of loose, though, especially after 18 years. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, and you can see he's got big old pins, huge pins, and you can see the unpainted gray plastic on the inside of the knee right there. It's funny, it says R for right. So you can see it is cast in gray plastic, but it is all painted silver. It does have a boot swivel. And then it does have a hinge up and down at the foot and the tiniest little tilt that might as well be nothing. So yeah, his articulation's pretty dated, but it's all like on paper there, you know. Let's see if we can get him pulling off a more dynamic pose. So let's have him with this arm kind of out like this. I don't really think he comes with any weapons or anything. I don't think he did. I think it was pretty much just here's the figure. If he did come with something and I'm not showing it, I apologize. I will look while I'm editing. And I will show a picture if need be. But if not, there won't be a picture. It's just going to be, you know, this. So yeah, it's kind of a dynamic pose of him kind of doing I guess a repulsor blast, even though he doesn't have one. So that's how he pulls that off. And let's see how the new one... Ooh! Nice. Nice. Perfect. It's almost like, oh, you want me to look a little crappier? Here, let me just collapse and then have my mask fall off and you can't even put it back. If you see this guy used, 9 times out of 10, that mask is going to be missing. So keep that in mind, too. If you want to get the old Toy Biz one, good luck finding the mask, because it is very hard to come by. You pretty much have to get it from a collector that has, you know, kept the accessory with it. Because sometimes, you know, you might see it at the flea market, at the thrift store. It's going to be missing that mask. I can guarantee it. So let's move him out of the way. So his articulation, he's got a kind of multi-ball joint system at the head here. So you do get some nice tilt. You don't really get a lot of up at all, which is pretty disappointing. And you don't really get a lot of down either. So the head is pretty bad. For Iron Man, given how he's supposed to fly, it would be nice if his head could tilt up a little bit more. But he does kind of make up for it a little bit, I guess. He's got standard hinged at the shoulder. He does have a bicep swivel. His elbow is very similar to the old one, where it only goes 90 degrees. But if you do bend the lower joint and then bend to the upper joint, you get a little bit more. A little bit more. So keep that in mind. Hinge and swivel for both hands. That's just how all the hands work on him. And then instead of just a swivel at the waist, he kind of has like a ratchet for the rotation, but it's on a ball joint. So you get decent crunch, decent back, decent tilt. And I do feel like the torso kind of makes up for the lack of head motion. That's a word now. Head motion. Because you can see, you can still kind of get him in a classic, you know, Iron Man flight pose with this old clunky suit. His hips, they do the hip things that Marvel Legends do nowadays. He does the thigh swivel things. He does the knee things. And oddly enough, even though he does have the cut there, and the Toy Biz one used that as an articulation point, that is not an articulation point for this one. However, he does have ankles that can move forward, back, and ankle tilt. So his articulation is definitely much better, for sure. I mean, 18 years of time to progress, you would hope that this new one is better, and thankfully it is. So let's get him in a similar kind of dynamic pose. so we can kind of see how much better his articulation is and how much his posability is improved over the one that came out nearly 2 decades ago. So we can see, yeah, that's much better. That is much better. It was a lot easier to get him in that pose, and they both look really cool. They both look super cool, actually. I really do enjoy them both still. The old one definitely has this retro feel to it, while the new one kind of modernizes it. I really do appreciate that. So there's the posing, there's the articulation out of the way. Let's just go over the accessories, because usually I do accessories first. It's kind of odd that I waited. I don't know why I waited. So pretty much the main accessory that the old one has, and the main accessory you have to concern yourself with, is this mask. Because removing the mask, you can see a very awkward Tony Stark face underneath. Look at that neck. Look at how weird that looks. I appreciate the detail. I appreciate what Toy Biz tried to do. But I did a whole big video about comic book Iron Man figures, and I talked about all my Toy Biz ones, and I pointed out how the masks kind of don't really need to be removable like this. It's just kind of odd. Doesn't really seem necessary. But you can do it. You can do it. And one thing I do like, though, having the mask removable, you can see Tony Stark's eyes. Maybe if I move my lighting a little bit. You can see Tony's eyes inside the mask. It's subtle, but you can see them. And that is something I genuinely do appreciate with this old one. So that's pretty much his main accessory. And then the new one, he's going to come with what you expect. So he has alternate fist and repulsor hands. And again, they all have that nice little paint on them. So I do think it looks kind of cool, but I just feel like it's overshadowed, man. Like you can hardly really notice it. And he does have the typical blast effects we see nowadays. And I do appreciate this inclusion. I do. Because it's nice to have your Iron Man flying. And this is like a 3-piece thing. So the smoke's a different piece. The blast is a different piece. And the little burst at the base is a different piece. We have seen these effects for years and years now. The smoke trail is new with Ironheart. That came out a couple years ago. But it's nothing new. I do appreciate the inclusion. I like it's black, too, because it kind of shows, hey, this is Tony's first armor, so it's not going to be as environmentally friendly, probably. But yeah, we can get him in some pretty cool flight poses with that. And I do appreciate the inclusion, but if they omitted them and used that budget to paint him all silver, I would have preferred that. I'm just going to say, if it was a case of this or silver armor, I would say silver armor. But it still looks good. It just could look better. That's one of the biggest issues with Marvel Legends Iron Man figures. They look good, but if they painted them metallic, they would always look better. The only times where I feel like it's okay to just be cast in the plastic, if it's like the classic just red. Oh, they're holding hands. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They're holding hands. If it's like the classic red and yellow Iron Man suit, I'm okay with that being, just in the plastics. Like the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Iron Man figure, it's one of my absolute favorites, and it's just red and yellow. That looks great. But if it's supposed to be metal, I really do appreciate just silver paint. Because seeing these side by side, the silver of the old Toy Biz one really helps it to stand out. They're both really nice. I do enjoy both of these for different reasons. The new one's more fun and posable. The old one just looks like cool, clunky, retro armor. And for Iron Man Model 1, that's kind of what you want. So I do enjoy these both. For Iron Man Marvel Legends collectors, if you're torn between the two, just get the new one, Sure, the new one, it's not silver. It does have the eyes sculpted in to the mask, but they're not painted. Maybe they'll paint them if they do a gold repaint. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, even though the eyes aren't painted and it's not silver, it is way more fun. It comes with some nice relevant accessories. It's a good figure. The old one, it's just cool, clunky, retro Iron Man suit. I love them both. Both of them will definitely stay in my collection. This isn't a matter of me getting rid of one. I collect Marvel Legends Iron Mans. So if I get a new version, I'm not going to get rid of the old one. One thing I do kind of want to try, though, I am kind of curious. I'll have to run and grab it. I want to see how some head sculpts look on this, given how this has the mask. I'll be right back. I'm actually really curious. So I'm back, and I have grabbed a few of my favorite Tony Stark head sculpts. Me collecting Marvel Legends Iron Mans, I pretty much have them all. So let's try this one, that Marvel Legends 20th head. Let's see how this looks. And, oh, it's tight. It's a tight fit. I thought Marvel Legends heads were all supposed to be compatible. But I am happy to say that does look good. He looks good with a Tony Stark head. I feel like the neck proportion looks really good. Like, that looks like he has taken off the helmet. I like that. That looks really nice. This is probably the one that probably matches the best with the era. I kind of look in there. I like the blue hair. I think that probably matches best. But let's try the other ones. Pop that off. Let's pop this one off. This was the 50th, right? Marvel Legends 50th. Jeez, they're tight on there. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm not going to push that in all the way, because that is really tight for no real reason. That's going to sit very similarly to the other one, and it's also going to look very nice. I don't think this is going to work with the big hair. I just want to try this one because I like this head. It's pretty funny. Yeah, the big hair is going to get in the way. He's always going to be looking down. But it's not a comic head, but I did want to try it with my absolute favorite Tony Stark head sculpt, the Game Reverse one. I want to see how this looks. I'm very curious, actually. And unfortunately, that neck is way too short. That neck is way too short to work, unfortunately. It is also like the modern, like, full goatee and everything, so it doesn't fit with the era. So in my opinion, if you want to display Model 1 Iron Man, oh, there we go, with a head sculpt, I would probably go with this one. This just looks the best to me. It just kind of fits with Tony Stark's personality. I love the blue hair. I just think, like, especially seeing it next to the Unmasked, you know, that just, this is Tony Stark right here. This is Tony Stark in the Model 1 armor. I really enjoy this. I feel like it kind of just fits with the aesthetic. Again, it's like, oh, you know, this head is actually based off of blah, 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 this artist. I'm not worried about that. It just kind of fits. It's action figures, you know. So there we go. There is my look at the new Marvel Legends Model 1 versus the old Toy Biz from 18 years ago. Which one do I prefer? The new one. I just wish the new one was all shiny silver. That's just a me personal problem. I still do like how it looks, though. It still does look very good. Like this helmet. I didn't really get super close on this, but this helmet looks really nice. Like, look at that. Look at all the nice kind of riveting along the sides. You can kind of see the eyes sculpted in there. I do kind of like that little scratching. The helmet looks very nice. I just kind of wish the rest of the figure looked just as nice. I do like them. I recommend them both for Iron Man collectors, but if you're a Marvel Legends collector or just wanting one iteration of Model 1 in your collection, definitely go for the new one. It is more expensive because it's that BS, like, oh, it's the anniversary of the Avengers. Oh my gosh, that means this needs to be $3 more because reasons. Thankfully, I had a bit of a discount, so I got mine for like $22 after tax. Thankfully, I got it at GameStop. I had a rewards thing. I know I have the GameStop rewards, but I've saved some good money on it. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think about these down in the comments below. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And it is pretty great. I don't even know what I was trying to say. Noises just came out.